All right, everybody, welcome into Five Star Live Playoff Edition, Round 1 of the TSSAA Football Playoffs, and we're at Anderson County tonight. We had to move the set indoors. It was so cold tonight that it started affecting our live stream there when we did the halftime report. So thankfully, the good people at Anderson County let us come into the weight room here and stay warm and broadcast live. I got Cam Thomas Jr. from Anderson County High School. We're going to get to him in a minute, but the Mavericks opened up the 4A playoffs tonight with a 41-14 win over Granger. It was a mercy rule game for most of the night, and just what Anderson County needed to really cruise into the second round. They didn't need to expend a lot of energy tonight. Do what they needed to do, take care of the task at hand in stopping Granger and their quarterback Dawson Holt, and they did that tonight. As I mentioned, we're joined by Cam Thomas, a junior at Anderson County, and Cam, you had a big night tonight. I saw you get an interception early in the game. I saw you get in the end zone early in the game. How important was it, like I said, to come out and just take care of the task at hand and make sure there are no slip-ups tonight?
Well, it's very important because you always want to come out strong. Get a big push for the playoffs. And we know what we have to play like next week because we got a big game there. So we just have to play perfect, and we did that tonight.
You looked at Granger's stats coming into this game, and I'm sure you guys scouted them well. It was all about Dawson Holt, their quarterback. He had over 1,500 yards rushing. They don't throw the football that much, but there in the first half, you all put them in position where they had to throw the football. I think they ended up with 4 passes in the first half, 3 interceptions. You got your hands on one of those. Did you kind of have an inkling when like you were going to possibly get a chance to make some plays defensively tonight?
Yes, sir. They're more of a 95% run team, but we knew there was a chance for them to throw the ball around when third and long situations. So we definitely knew this as a secondary. We knew not to fall asleep and be ready for a pass, and we were ready for it today.
Jared, we can probably roll some of those highlights of the game while Cam and I are talking. But Cam, this is a team that had so many new components there early in the season, and people like myself and other media people just didn't know what to expect. We might have picked against y'all in certain games early in the season just because Stanton Martin wasn't here or Ryan Moog wasn't here or Trey No wasn't here. Did you all feel that early in the season in terms of doubters, and how much has that kind of played into motivating you all this season?
We've definitely had the doubters. We losing all those seniors. It's hard for people not to, but we really came out here and stepped up huge. Big players on every aspect of the field have stepped up, and it really did motivate for Clinton. We couldn't really put it on the way we wanted to because the weather conditions, but we wanted to come out there and win big. And then I think really the South Dole game when y'all had us down by 19 points.
Yeah, what was that about?
I don't know.
It must have been a typo or something, I think, on our website. There's no way that I predicted anything like that. I can tell you that much. But no, I mean, and I'll go ahead and explain that a little bit. I mean, we had seen South Doyle just run roughshod over Fulton. I mean, everything was clicking. And again, you guys had so many new components. Even though South Doyle had their quarterback out, it was just like, man, this talent level is just going to come into Anderson County. I don't know if they'll be ready. You guys were ready. I just feel like this team has been motivated all season long, and you guys continue to be.
Yes, sir. We know what we want at the end of the year, and we don't really listen to any of the outside. But we've really stepped up, and I'm proud of our guys.
You don't listen to it unless I pick y'all to lose by 19 points, right?
No, sir.
Okay. Look, you kind of mentioned a few minutes ago just kind of looking ahead to Greenville. It's a program you guys are familiar with, but you're used to seeing them in the state quarterfinals. This time it comes in round 2. Just what do you know about Greenville this year? Because they lost a lot of people too.
Well, I mean, it's still Greenville. Still going to play against a well-disciplined team, well-coached team. It's a good team overall. We know we got to we got to stop a few players on their team, but from last year's standpoint, I think we have a better chance this year.
Okay, man, thanks so much for sticking around. I'm going to shake your hand here. Good to meet you. My son's name is Cam, so that's awesome. You and him are probably best friends now.
It's great.
We're going to bring in Davey Gillum, head football coach at Anderson County. You can just go ahead and drop that mic on the chair there, and Davey will slide in here. Cam, thanks again. Davey, congratulations on the win tonight.
Thank you.
Cold night. I mean, some things can go wrong sometimes in the passing game when it gets a little chilly. And I know Stone had one that kind of wobbled out of his hands. Y'all were still able to get that in the first half, and just seemed like everything went y'all's way like you needed it to tonight.
Yeah, defensively, Coach Chapel, very aggressive as always on defense. And put kids in position to make plays, and they did. Made some big tackles, big hits, and like you said with Cam, put them in position to throw the ball, and that isn't something they want to do. And I think they completed 3, and all of them were to us, and 2 of them for touchdowns. So good game plan by Coach Chadwell, and then great execution by the kids.
Yeah, I think Austin Elliott kind of got it started tonight. He had a 30-yard pick six there in the first quarter to get you guys your first score, and then short field, Stone Hatmaker to Cam Thomas, touchdown pass, and then Cam turns around, get you guys the ball right back. And it's imperative that in this round, like I said before, you don't expend a lot of energy, especially when you have a matchup with Greenville coming up.
Yeah, the big thing, in a perfect world for me, we would have got a rep for 4 quarters, because you always want more reps and more looks and put everybody in different positions and do different things. But it's not worth the bumps and the bruises and the wear and tear on your kids at this time of year. So getting them to get out early, keeping them healthy, keeping them fresh is very valuable. So
we talked with Cam there before, and we talked about how so many guys from last year's teams that were so special graduated and moved on. When did you get a sense that this team could do what they've done this year?
We had high hopes for them, but it was one of those best case scenario kind of teams. As a coach, you always plan for what is the potential for this team. So we thought they had some high end if things went our way, but it's a different group than Stanton and Ryan and Trey and Marquise and all those guys. I mean, I could go down the line and name 10 more, and that was a generational top team. Where honestly, I'm a Lou Holtz by nature kind of guy, where I go into every game thinking I don't know how we're going to get a first down tonight. We got, and we over plan and over prepare. But honestly, last year I was going into games I knew we were going to win by 50. I knew what we had, and they'd proven themselves over the years. I can't say I knew that going into game 1 with these guys, but there's a line in the Bible talking about, I think it's Job, says, yet even though he's dead, yet speaketh. And those guys that left, they helped our program advance so far by the expectations we have. These guys, they don't know any better. I mean, we've been 10-0 2 years in a row, and we've worked like dogs. And these guys have came in and worked harder and more accountable than any team we've ever had. So we had a good winter, which that don't always transition. And we had a great spring, and then all of us coaches in the summer, we were shocked because summertime, no matter how good you are, even with Stanton's group, there was still 1 or 2 we're calling every morning. Where's Marquise at? Marquise, you need a ride. We got to come get you. This one, that one. There's always somebody every day, every week. We didn't have a kid miss all summer.
Wow.
And we go from 6 to 10 every morning. And I mean, we don't even enjoy being here all the time that we're here, but these kids didn't miss it all, and they came and worked. And by the end of June, when they hadn't missed it all, and then end of July and they hadn't missed it all, we thought we might be pretty good. I mean, when you show up every day and you're willing to work every day, we can make some progress. And that's what this team has, is that whole group. Those DBs and those receivers and those linebackers, they played in the 7-on-7 league last year. We got a guy in the community that coaches them, and they don't miss that. I mean, they've been going from December to now and ain't stopped. And now they're, you reap what you sow. And we don't give rah-rah speeches on Friday night. I mean, the work's been done, and they go out and get what they've put into it.
What I like about this team is about halfway through, you really saw T.J. Holmes kind of step into his own in terms of being just a boss out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And what he's been able to do and complement Stone Hatmaker in the past game. It might be TJ's night one night, it might be Stone Hatmaker's night another night, and tonight it was just kind of a balance of both. I mean, you guys can really hit teams one way or the other.
Yeah, it was dealer's choice tonight. It really is up to Coach Jesse what he wanted to do tonight, but when it comes to big games, and whether it's the South Dual game or East Ham game or Powell, it's a combination of all the above. And that's why games are always important. And I talk about getting reps because there's been many games, if not all of them, we could have ran TJ 40 times, put Stone Cummins back there and just hammer people, and there's nothing most people could do about it. But you're not going to beat Greenville like that, and you're not going to beat Elizabethton like that. You're not going to beat Powell like that. People are going to have to make plays, so we got to stay sharp and stay fresh in all those areas. And you know, the offensive line for our team has really been the unsung heroes, and come out of the shadows. We have dominated the line of scrimmage in every game we've played this year. And it's allowed us, especially early in the season, we can control coverages and things because people have to get extra hats in the box. If not, TJ and with Stone Cummins at that H-back are really just crushing people inside. So they bring people down, and it creates one-on-ones for people like Austin Elliott and Cam, and every time, you know, one of the things we do in those situations that's a little harder is we limit a lot of times how many balls Stone Hatmaker gets to throw, because it's run, and then pass, run, pass, that kind of, and we mix it up, and it may be a screen here and there, but he has been amazingly effective. And you know, when we're playing South Dual, and you know, we call some downfield RPO, and he's got somebody. I mean, he's been dropping dimes, so he is. We've just had so many kids on this team step up and just do an amazing job at their job. You know, when it's Stone's time, he does it. When it's Cam's time, he does it. When it's TJ, he does it. When it's Stone Cummins, he does it. So it's just, and it's not just week to week; it's play to play. They've done a good job of just executing.
With Anderson County's familiarity with Greenville and having played them in the playoffs the last 2 years, do you feel like, though, this time you kind of have to reset the button on your scouting of them just because of their quarterback situation and their new personnel?
Yeah, somewhat. It's still the same system, offensively and defensively. They're doing a few other things on offense now because they're having to. But now I think scouting's more about personnel. That may be what he's getting to than actually the plays they run. Just because, you know, last year it's no brainer how they're going to line up every play and what they're going to do every play. And if you were to draw it up on the board, it's a win every time for the offense if you do certain things. But they were bigger, stronger, faster than everybody at every single position, and it's hard to execute when somebody whips your tail. They're still good and they're still physical, but there isn't 11 people on both sides of the ball that look like that anymore. Now they're good and they're still physical and they're still well coached, but what we'll try and do this year will be a little different. We're a little different, you know. Our run to pass ratio is a lot more balanced, and we run more formations and those type things. So it'll be a different dynamic this year.
And you guys get to host that game again, right?
We do.
Yeah,
we do.
So we'll see how that plays out. Davey, thanks so much for joining us, and
Thanks
the
for having me.
hospitality here, for letting us come inside.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Downs, the Freemans, Gary Terry, everybody took care of us before the game. We had some chicken wings, some hot dogs and hamburgers over there by the fire.
Yeah, it's Mayberry here.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's a great environment, and I love the lights and the pregame show that everything's done. It truly is the greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
Can't beat it. So Anderson County
Thank
wins
you.
41-14 over Granger. Stick with us. We're going to come back, look at the pairings for the round 2. So stay with us right here on 5 Star Live.
Make the plays. The dedicated ones never quit. Weekend warrior or professional, all athletes get hurt. And when you do, Tennessee Orthopedic Clinic's comprehensive sports medicine team is ready to take you on. The power of results.
The 5-Star Preps Player of the Week is proudly presented by Smith Built Homes, East Tennessee's most trusted home builders since the 1950s. Smith Built dedicates themselves to producing a home that owners, their families, and neighbors can be proud of for generations to come.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
Welcome back to 5 Star Live here from Anderson County in their weight room where it's a little bit warmer than it is outside, that's for sure. Thank you to Cam Thomas Jr. from Anderson County for coming in, waiting around after the game. They got done in about an hour and 40 minutes tonight here at Anderson County as the mercy rule went into effect in a 41-14 win over Granger, and Cam Thomas had a touchdown catch early on. He had an interception early on that set up another touchdown. So Anderson County did not expend much energy at all tonight, and they'll cruise into that round 2 showdown with Greenville. Speaking of round 2, let's start breaking down the pairings for the second round of the TSSAA playoffs. We'll start in 1A tonight. Cloudland got the win over Harriman. That was a 4-versus-1 matchup. I predicted Harriman to go up on the road into Cloudland, where who knows where that is. I've never been there, but fully expected Travis Tapp and that team to get there and win that football game. They hung around for a long time. Cloudland finally broke away. They improved to 6-5. They will take on Oliver Springs. Coach Larry Green and his team moved to 9-2. Really like their chances to move to 10-2 and get into the state quarterfinals. So Oliver Springs 9-2 versus Cloudland 6-5. Also in Class 1A, Coalfield gets the win over Hancock County. No surprise there. Coalfield improves to 8-3. They will take on Greenback. 9-2, monster win tonight, easy win over Unaka, and Greenback on a mission to try to get back to the state championship game. It all derailed last year when Holden Willis, now named a Mr. Football semifinalist early this week. He broke his collarbone last year in the playoffs, and Greenback's championship hopes kind of evaporated when that happened. We'll see if they can kind of stay healthy going into that matchup with Coalfield. 5 Star Preps went out to Coalfield earlier this season, probably about 3 weeks back. Coalfield hung around for a little while, but Greenback really put the hammer down on them in the second half, and I know Coalfield's going to try to want to get revenge in that game, but I think Greenback will enter as the favorite in that matchup in 1A. Moving on into 2A, not much to talk about here. We have only one team advancing as Cumberland Gap lost tonight on the road at Hampton. Hampton improves to 9-2. Oneida got a nice win over Sullivan North, as Tony Lambert and the Indians are apt to do at this time of the year, especially in the first round. They improve to 7-4, and they'll take on Hampton in the second round next week. South Green knocks off Rockwood. Rockwood did a really good job early on of creating some momentum in that game against South Green tonight, but South Green too much. They improved to 10-1. They'll take on Meigs County. And reigning Mr. Football, Aaron Swafford, the quarterback at Meigs County. He's a Navy commitment. He's up for Mr. Football again this season, and probably likely to win that Mr. Football again. Another fantastic year for him. So looking like if Oneida can win that football game, they'll rematch with Meigs County. I think they played early on in the regular season. Moving on into 3A tonight, Kingston, a 4 seed, I believe, goes on the road and wins at Chucky Doak. Kingston improves to 7-4. That was a game that we predicted that Brian Pankey and the Yellow Jackets would win, and they did so tonight. Of course, they will take on Austin East, who cruised over Johnson County tonight. No shock there as Trey Foster, Reese also recently named a Tennessee Titans Mr. Football semifinalist for having more than 3,000 yards of offense, passing and rushing from the quarterback position this year. Also in 3A, you see Gatlinburg-Pittman and Alcoa rematching. They just played a couple of weeks ago. Gatlinburg-Pittman did not show very well in that game against Alcoa. See if they can kind of rewrite the script a little bit in that game. Alcoa actually gave up a touchdown tonight to West Green, so we weren't expecting that. We saw Dobbins Bennett score 2 field goals in Week 11, but Alcoa surrenders a touchdown to West Green tonight. We'll have a special guest join us up here on set in just a moment. Loudon improves to 11-0 with a big win over York. York cut it to about a 28-14 game there in the second half, but York could not hold on and could not make it much more of a game of it as Loudon cruises into the second round. They're going to take on either Smith County or Sweetwater. That game is way behind where we are. I think it's in Central Time Zone maybe, so it was a 14-13 game at the half, so we don't have an update on that, but stay tuned. We'll have pairings on 5starpreps.com later on tonight. Red Bank gets a win over Sequatchie County, and Signal Mountain and Upperman still ongoing. Upperman was a team that made it to the 3A state semifinals a year ago and actually gave Alcoa a really good football game in that semifinal. So we expect Upperman to advance and improve to 10-1 and take on Red Bank, which is a really good second round game. Moving on into Class 4A, Elizabethton 11-0 now as they knock off East Ridge, and really did not get much of a test whatsoever. Sullivan South hangs on for a 28-24 victory over East Hamilton, so it'll be 6-5 Sullivan South at 11-0 Elizabethton. I think we all expect Sean Witten and that football team to move on into the state quarterfinals, where they will face the winner of this game, Greenville 9-2 versus Anderson County 10-1. And Jared, we can go ahead and roll some highlights if you want of Anderson County tonight. And Anderson County, we talked with Davey Gillum in the last half of the previous segment of the show. We talked with Cam Thomas, and just a very good showing tonight against Granger. They had the fireworks going. They had Lee Greenwood going on. They had the full out All-America. We're going to show you our patriotism. And I thought it was a well-executed pregame show. Not too many theatrics, but just really tasteful, classy. Love the American flag. So they got it going the right way tonight. And from the get-go, it was Anderson County's defense setting the tone in this game, as Austin Elliott picked off a pass, returned it 30 yards for a touchdown against Granger. Everybody knew the scout with Granger, it was going to be Dawson Holt, their quarterback, who'd rushed for over 1,500 yards, and that was about all they had. So Anderson County's defense really stepped up to the plate, put Granger in a situation where they had to throw the football. And in the first half, Granger was 0-4 throwing the football with 3 interceptions and no yards passing. And you see Ella there. She's going to be joining us up on set in just a moment. But interception by Austin Elliott. You saw Anderson County's defense there doing a number on Dawson Holt, then Stone Hatmaker to Cam Thomas for a touchdown. Cam Thomas turns around real quick, interception there, reverses field, gets them back into scoring position, and Anderson County just jumped on Granger really early, did not give Granger many hopes of a comeback whatsoever. And Stone Hatmaker quarterback, the run game at Anderson County just had no obstacles getting their way tonight. And again, that's what you want to see in a game like this in the first round. You don't want to give a team like Granger any room to believe that they can hang around for 4 quarters. And then the next thing you know, your guys are tired. Maybe somebody gets hurt that's not supposed to get hurt. And then you go into a game against Greenville not full strength. So Anderson County took advantage of the situation tonight, and they'll take on Greenville, again, 9-2 this year. Greenville used to being a 1 seed and used to seeing Anderson County in the state quarterfinals, so a little bit different that we get this game in the state, or in the second round of the state playoffs this year. That game will be at Anderson County next Friday night, and you see the light show there at Anderson County. Really cool LED lights that they have now, and thankfully Ben Downs didn't have any malfunctions tonight and set those off during the middle of the game. So that was good to see. All right, let's go ahead and move into 5A, Jared, as we continue to look at the second round pairings of the TSSAA playoffs. Gibbs goes on the road and shocks Tennessee High. If you looked at our game predictions on 5starpreps.com, we told you that was going to happen. You do not want to face Gibbs right now. They're running the football extremely well. They're playing good defense, and Gibbs goes up to Tennessee High that was 9-1, that had a player recently offered by Tennessee and South Carolina and Virginia Tech, and Gibbs drop the L on them, and they move on into the second round. We'll get you updated on that Central Davy Crockett game later on in the program. Central was up 17-14 at last check. That was kind of early on in the fourth quarter. Daniel Boone gets the win over Halls tonight. Jake Paris, star running back at Halls, was hobbled. He got injured in week 11 late in that game playing defense. Talked with Scott Cummings earlier in the week. He said it's not looking good. And that Halls team is just a different type of offensive team without Jake Paris. They don't have the explosivity. They don't have the home run threat guy. And so they fell, I think, 34-3 tonight to Daniel Boone. South Doyle cruises past Cherokee, and that was to be expected. South Doyle, 8-3, will host that game against Daniel Boone. Powell cruises over Lenoir City tonight. They improved to 11-0. Some people picking Ray County to lose to Fulton tonight. We put out a contest on Twitter. We put out a contest on Facebook. Hey, give us your upset special of the night. Give us a prediction. And there were a handful of people or more that kind of fell victim to the Fulton belief, and because Fulton knocked off Oak Ridge there in Week 11 to get into the playoffs, and that's just a difficult place to play, and it's a difficult offense to defend at Ray County. Mark Pemberton, the former Catholic coach, they run that wing tee to perfection, and so Fulton had a tall task on its hands going into Ray County tonight. Ray County cruised in that game over Fulton, so it'll be Powell versus Ray County in round 2. Should be a fairly good game there if Ray County can kind of execute on offense. Finally, West cruises tonight over Walker Valley. They improve to 10-1. They will take on Oak Ridge, who knocked off Soddy Daisy. Oak Ridge, a 4 seed going on the road to win that game at top seed Soddy Daisy. Kendall Jackson had a key touchdown there in the second half to kind of put that game away. A lot of people picking West to move on into the state quarterfinals. Certainly a favorable road. They had no trouble with Oak Ridge in the regular season. Moving on into 6A, kind of some surprise teams there, not necessarily with Maryville, but look at Bearden. Look at Bearden there going on the road tonight as a 3 seed and shocking McMinn County. I think it was 23-6. McMinn County came in with Jalen Hunt at running back. They came in with a 9-1 record. Jalen Hunt had rushed for over 1,500 yards this year, and McMinn County had to be coming in confident. They had a big win over Bradley Central in the week before to get them that 2 seed and put them in a nice playoff spot. But Bearden started off the year 0-5. Now look at them moving into the second round where they will take on Dobbins Bennett, which got a win tonight over William Blount, a hard-earned win over William Blount at that. I think William Blount showed well in that game tonight against the Indians. So we'll see if Bearden can go on the road yet again. They're going to have to travel up to Dobbins Bennett. They got blown out by Dobbins Bennett in the first half of the season, but this is a different Bearden team. All right, Farragut tonight. We have some highlights of their show from C.J. Newton, one of our freelance photographers and videographers, and appreciate CJ. He's a student out at Concord Christian, and so he went out tonight and captured a few highlights from Farragut. And how many times on this show have we talked about the hot and cold temperatures of this Farragut football team? One week you can figure them out. The next week they're getting blown out by Hardin Valley. They barely get into the playoffs last week. We talked about that on the show from Dead End Barbecue in Week 11 about how they went into the last couple of minutes of the fourth quarter against Jefferson County down, trailing. And had they lost, they would have missed the playoffs. They rally. They get a Gabe Hensley touchdown in the last minute of the game, and now they're a 2 seed, hosting a first-round game against Bradley Central, who, when you look at them get off the bus, they are monsters. They have a stud quarterback. They got stud receivers. They got stud running backs. But they just absolutely got walloped tonight by Farragut High School that I believe won that game 56-21. Gavin Wilkinson had 2 touchdown passes. He ran for a touchdown pass, ran for a touchdown. You had Gabe Hensley get in the act running the football. You had Eli Purcell get in the act running the football. And Farragut, who we had as a preseason top 10 team, looks like a top 10 team again, at least from this first round showing. They will take on Maryville, who wants to get back to the state championship game after losing in the state semifinals to Oakland a year ago. Of course, in that game against Farragut a year ago, T. Hodge broke his leg. That was in the state quarterfinals. Maryville goes into the state semifinals at Oakland and gets blown out on a rainy night. T. Hodge, you see him back at full strength again tonight. He had 3 first-half touchdowns. You see him get in the end zone there and really keyed that win tonight over Science Hill, who, although beat Dobbins Bennett a couple of weeks ago, just cannot do the same to Maryville. You see T. Hodge get in again. Parker McGill had a first-half touchdown. Cade Chambers threw a touchdown late, and it was, I believe, 35 or 42-0. Maryville at halftime, and of course they cruise. So Maryville will host Farragut next week in the second round game. Bearden goes on the road to Dobbins Bennett. All right, looking ahead into Division II tonight, Kings Academy did not play. They had a first round bye. They joined us last week from Dead End Barbecue on the set of 5 Star Live. They entered the playoffs 6-4. They will take on University School of Jackson, 8-3. University School of Jackson put a beat down on Chattanooga Grace tonight. So we'll see if Kings Academy can put that extra time to use, get a good scout, get people rest up, and come in with no rust. That's going to be difficult. We'll see. Moving on into Division II AA, Grace Christian got the win tonight, a hard-earned win tonight over Good Pasture. Maybe a little bit closer than anticipated. Good Pasture, not really that great of a football team, but Grace had some penalties that kind of put them behind the sticks a little bit, but still able to win that football game tonight and move into the next round. They're going to take on Lipscomb. I believe that game is pretty much in hand for Lipscomb. Lipscomb moves on to 6-5. Talking with some people in the mid-state area, they say Lipscomb's a little bit beat up, but this is a cool game because Trent Dilfer, the Super Bowl winning quarterback from the Baltimore Ravens, this is his first year as the head football coach at Lipscomb. And so we'll get to see Trent Dilfer against one of our area teams. And if you're a podcast subscriber on 5 Star Preps, you got to hear our interview with Trent Dilfer. If you missed that, go to iTunes, go to SoundCloud, and look up that interview that we did with Trent Dilfer, a fantastic guest. We talked for about 45 minutes about how he's building his high school football program and bringing in coaches from all over the country to come in and join his staff. And he's treating it like a college football program. So we'll see what he brings to the table. Of course, he's noted for his Elite 11 quarterback coaching and involvement, along with being an ESPN analyst. And so he's still involved with the Elite 11 now, but putting a lot of his energy and time into the Lipscomb football program. We'll see what he has for Rusty Bradley and his offensive mind next week. Should be a fantastic showdown. CPA got the better of Webb tonight. I think that game's still ongoing in Middle Tennessee, but CPA was up 28-0 at the half. Webb just really had a tough year this year. Don't expect them to rally there. They'll take on Chattanooga Christian, which eliminated CAK tonight, and I thought CAK might get a chance to come back and win that game, especially after losing to Chattanooga Christian 14-3 in the regular season, but they got beat down tonight, and just a tough exit for CAK. They had such a fantastic year, 8-2, just got a bad shake of the seedings, ended up with a 4 seed and having to go on the road to take on Chattanooga Christian. So Chattanooga Christian 7-3 versus CPA 5-6. Don't be deceived by that 5-6 record from CPA. They played a lot of Middle Tennessee's top talent like Ravenwood and some big-time Division II AAA programs. So that's a deceptive 5-6 record. And then finally, in Division II AAA, we have Catholic versus MUS. Of course, they did not play tonight, since they only have 8 teams make the playoffs in Division II AAA. Everybody got the off week this week on Friday, and so Catholic will leave Thursday of next week to make the long bus ride, that 6-hour trip over to Memphis, where they will take on the Owls at MUS. In scouting, MUS don't have a lot of studs offensively. Their top running back averages about 5 yards a carry, and their quarterbacks combined for about 50% passing. So what MUS likes to do, they like to turn the football, get the other team to turn the football over. They have a number of interceptions this year, forced fumbles and sacks. So Catholic, it's imperative that they go down there, take care of the football, and do what they do. And I think you see them advance, and where they are in the bracket, they have a nicer road to the state finals than had they been placed in the top half of the bracket with teams like McCallie and Innsworth. So we'll see. So Catholic 7-3 at MUS 9-1. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We got one more special guest that we're going to get to on set, and we're going to show you another video as well that happened earlier this week out at Catholic High School. Stay with us here on 5 Star Live.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
Make the plays. The dedicated ones never quit. Weekend warrior or professional, all athletes get hurt. And when you do, Tennessee Orthopedic Clinic's comprehensive sports medicine team is ready to take you on. The power of results.
The 5 Star Preps Player of the Week is proudly presented by Smith Built Homes, East Tennessee's most trusted home builders since the 1950s. Smith Built dedicates themselves to producing a home that owners, their families, and neighbors can be proud of for generations to come.
right, welcome back to Anderson County. We got Ella. Ella, the tea retrieving dog from Anderson County, who's taking social media by storm this year, and we have Lance Freeman, the trainer. Is that what you would call yourself? The trainer of Ella, the handler of Ella, and she got a workout tonight. She had to chase down a lot of teas tonight.
Yeah, she did. She really enjoys it though, so that's her favorite part. A lot of people give me a hard time about not giving her treats, but that truly is her treat, getting to go out there and pick it up, and obviously she enjoys herself out there.
So when did this idea come about in terms of her being on the sideline?
Can you make this happen? It was on Facebook, and kind of jokingly I said, yeah, give me about 10 minutes, just kind of being arrogant about it. But that was kind of the reality of it. Hit the end, and they were really interested in it happening. Gary Terry was all for it, and Davey Gillen was all for it, and so we came out on a Wednesday and just got her excited with the tee and played with it a little bit, and then came to pregame on Thursday. And then we were out here Friday night. So I think it was the Jeff County game was the first. It was at the end of September. So
is she involved with duck hunting and things like that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually got her for my oldest daughter, who's here in the crowd tonight. But it was her 5th birthday, and it was her present. So I get a pretty hard time about it being her dog. But yeah, we got her the day she turned 8 weeks old, and we started training that day. And it's probably the most thing I've done the most diligently in my life ever was training her. But been a lot of fun out of it. And so for her to go pick up a tee, it was pretty easy after learning how to pick up birds and whatnot.
I mean, how do they do that though? I mean, how do you get their mind kind of triggered on that and knowing like they need to run out there, get it, and come back and do it?
Well, it's just about building the drive early on, and she has a lot of go in her. There's not an off button, as you can tell. But so it was just kind of correlating with what she was accustomed to with picking up bumpers that we train her with or picking up birds. Once I threw a tee around a couple times, she realized, hey, I'm allowed to go pick this thing up, and so at that point it was a pretty simple process.
Jared, if we aired the clip, I hadn't even seen it because I'm looking at Ella, but I mean you can see her. This is from the get go. All right, thank you, Ella. All right, that's awesome. Love Ella. She's a social media celebrity now, and got that #1 jersey on, and just another thing that you can see. You come out to Anderson County High School, so special things in high school football. You just never know what you're going to see. And another special thing happened this week out at Catholic High School as Brian Tucker, a 2020 offensive lineman, got his Under Armour All-American game jersey during a special presentation at Catholic High School. We caught up with Brian. We also caught up with Steve Matthews, who I believe is going to be coaching in that game January 2nd down in Orlando. Here's a special clip from that presentation yesterday out at Catholic High School.
Today we are excited to present Brian Tucker with the honorary game jersey commemorating his selection to the 2020 Under Armour All-American game. Brian, congratulations on achieving your goal of becoming an Under Armour All-American. Thank you for representing Knoxville Catholic, and we look forward to seeing you play in Florida on January 2nd on ESPN. Again, we will turn it over to Brian and let him have a few words. A little bit small.
I mean, it's a blessing, starting freshman year, on the practice field, hot days, blood, sweat, and tears, but, it all comes up to this day, grinding in the weight room, sacrificing a lot of things, and, after football, it just takes patience, for me to have this moment, spare with my mom and dad, my teammates, and it's a blessing. I thank God.
To participate in this Under Armour All-American game, how do you view it? Do you go down there to have fun? Do you go down there to prove yourself, or both?
I mean, it's both, honestly. Back then when I went to the Future 50 in January, I stayed in the exact same hotel as the players, I saw what they did. They went to the beach, chill. It's also about competition, but no, they're just creating a bond down there, competing with other players, just keeping up how they do in college football. And I think that's crazy and awesome at the same time. But, also it's business too. You want to come down there and show your competitiveness on ESPN. And it's definitely a blessing to be a part of it.
Looking at yourself and kind of your career projection here going into Clemson, Under Armour All-American, was there ever a time where you were bad at football?
I mean, when I first started, I didn't really know the game. My very first sport was actually soccer. So, and then somebody told my dad, like, hey, you need to put your son in football. I didn't ever watch football. I watched a little bit, but not much. But, I just grew as a player, trained a lot, got better at it. Props to my dad, always, after football in the garage, just working, foot drills, just becoming a better player. Now where I'm at right now, I appreciate the moments my dad had with me. And it's awesome. I appreciate it.
Steve, what has Brian Tucker meant to this program the last few years?
He's been huge, coming in as a freshman, starting for us right away, and starting the last 4 years, and really been a great guy on the field, but really a better guy off the field. Just a great job in the classroom. Everybody really seems to like him in the hallways, and I know the football staff and all the players just think the world of him.
I know skill set wise, he's playing left tackle for you guys. Into college. What type of player is Clemson getting?
I think number one, they're getting a guy with great size. That's when Coach Caldwell came in. He said, we need bigger guys. We have him out of position a little bit. He's probably a guard at the next level. But, they're very excited about him. He'll do a great job of down blocking for them and really fit in their scheme well, which is the vast majority inside zone, and that he does a great job with that for us. So I think he'll fit in what they like to do really well, and obviously they're one of the top programs in the country, and they're excited about getting Brian, who's also one of the top players in the country.
Congratulations to Brian Tucker on his Under Armour All-American game selection. Again, that'll be January 2nd down in Orlando. 5-Star Preps hopes to make that journey down there. We'll see. We got to gather up some money and find a way to get down there. So that's kind of important. Danny Parker and I will try to get down there and provide some coverage. We have a young man from CAK who's in the middle school kind of game combine that they're going to do down there. So a couple players down there to keep an eye on. Hey, I do want to update you on Central High School, the defending state champions in 5A. They got down to Davy Crockett 14-0 in the first half tonight. They rallied to win 24-14. That magic is still out there at Central High School, so do not forget about them just yet. They got a 25-yard field goal from Jordan Swislowski there early in the fourth quarter, and then Jaden Horton, 62-yard punt return with 3 minutes, 3:33 3:32 remaining to put that game away 24-14. So some clutch players coming up that maybe you haven't heard of. They made the plays late, and they moved Central on. They beat Davy Crockett en route to a 5A state championship a year ago, and so Central gets the win tonight, 24-14. We'll see them in round 2 of the 5A playoffs. Let's take one last glance at all the playoff pairings moving into next week. 1A, Cloudland versus Oliver Springs. I think Oliver Springs moves on. Greenback already beat Coalfield badly this season. I think we'll see Greenback versus Oliver Springs in the state quarterfinals. Moving on into 2A, Hampton versus Oneida. Hampton put the beat down tonight. We'll see if Oneida can work a little Tony Lambert magic with that defense and move into the 2A quarterfinals. South Green versus Meigs County. I think everybody's going to pick Meigs County to move on with Mr. Football Aaron Swafford there for Meigs. Into 3A now, where Kingston will take on Austin East. These are region foes. Austin East got the better of Kingston in the regular season and had a rout of a win tonight against Johnson County. Kingston, a 4-seed, went on the road to win, and so hats off to Brian Pankey and his team down at Roane County High School for getting that win. Gatlinburg-Pittman versus Alcoa in the second round. Of course, Alcoa took care of Gatlinburg-Pittman pretty easily there in the latter weeks of the season, so that'll be a rematch of a region contest from the 2019 regular season. Loudon will go and face the winner of the Smith County Sweetwater game. That game's being played on Central Time, so still ongoing, but congratulations to Loudon to improving to 11-0, and we'll see maybe either Red Bank or Upperman later on in the playoffs should they win that second round game. Moving on to 4A real quick. Of course, we are here at Anderson County. They're going to take on Greenville in the second round. Used to seeing Greenville in the third round. That game's a little bit earlier this year since Greenville finished 8-2 in the regular season, lost to Elizabethton in the regular season. That bumped them down to a 2 seed, and they'll take on Anderson County right here in Clinton, Tennessee, next Friday night at 7 o'clock, and we'll see if Anderson County can get that Greenville monkey off their back. I've said it all year. Well, not all year. I said it for the second half of the season that if you put Anderson County up against Greenville right now, I really like Anderson County's chances. So we'll see if that plays out the way we think it will. And Elizabethton moved to 11-0 tonight, and they will take on Sullivan South, who beat East Hamilton 28-24. So Elizabethton probably expected to win that game with Sullivan South and move on to the state quarterfinals to face either Anderson County or Greenville. Moving on to 5A, we just updated you with Central High School and their 24-14 comeback win over Davy Crockett with that field goal and that punt return there in the fourth quarter to clinch the win. Gibbs goes on the road like we predicted as a 4 seed to knock off top-seeded Tennessee High, which was 9-1 and had a stud athlete get a Tennessee offer earlier this week. But Gibbs goes on the road. They were down 10-7 at halftime, and they rally in the second half. South Doyle versus Daniel Boone next week. I think you see South Doyle advance to the state quarterfinals. Powell versus Ray County. Maybe a sneaky good game. I don't know. With that wing T offense that Mark Pemberton runs at Ray County, we'll see if they can execute and ball control and grind down clock and keep it close with Powell. West Oak Ridge will be a rematch of a regular season game that West won at Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge is now a 4 seed. They got the win tonight over Soddy Daisy. They will play at West next Friday night. Moving on to 6A. Rematch with Farragut and Maryville. They play in the state quarterfinals a year ago. Farragut lost that game. We'll see if they can play a little bit closer this coming Friday night. But Maryville just cruised tonight over Science Hill as T. Hodge, the Tennessee commitment, got 3 first-half touchdowns rushing. And Maryville just absolutely cruised, but with his rushing performance, Parker McGill, who has a 1,000-yard season this year for Maryville, and then Cade Chambers, a Mr. Football semifinalist this year, got in the act late in the first half with a touchdown of his own. So we'll see what transpires next Friday night. Of course, Maryville is going to come into that game as the favorite with Farragut. Bearden goes on the road as a 3 seed, again, as we predicted, and shocked McMinn County. They got the win 23-6. So the Bulldogs started off the year 0-5. Here they are at 5-6, going on the road to face Dobbins Bennett, who is 9-2 and who knows? Can Bearden keep the magic going? We'll see. But that'll definitely be kind of a game that we keep an eye on. Bearden definitely playing really good football right now. Moving on to Division II, one last glance. Kings Academy will take on USJ in the second round next week. Kings Academy had a bye this week. Division II AA CAK was eliminated. Grace Christian was able to knock off Good Pasture. They're going to take on Lipscomb in the second round. Again, Lipscomb coached by Trent Dilfer, the former quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, former ESPN analyst, all that. So CPA versus Chattanooga Christian will be also in that same part of the bracket. And in Division II AAA, Catholic will finally get underway in the playoffs. They'll go on the road at Memphis University School. Memphis University School, a 9-1 football team. Really like Catholic's chances to win that game. We talked about that in the last segment. So from Anderson County, we're going to go sign off tonight where the Mavericks won 41-14. We had Davey Gillum on the set. We had Cam Thomas. We had Ella, the tea retrieving dog. We had, I don't know, videos from Farragut and Maryville tonight as well as here. So if you missed it, let's check it back out on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. Thank you all for joining in us tonight here at Anderson County. We'll catch up with you in round 2 of the playoffs. We'll announce where we're going to be on Twitter, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks for joining us.